manifesting spirit of the Supreme Spirit, by which title Prithvi, the earth, greets Vishnu, the first avatar, are the purely metaphysical abstract qualities of formation, preservation, and destruction, and are the three divine avastas, literally hypostases, of that which does not perish with created things, or Akyuta, a name of Vishnu, whereas the Orthodox Christian separates his personal creative deity into three personages of the Trinity and admits of no higher deity. The latter in occultism is the abstract triangle, within the Orthodox the perfect cube. The creative God or the aggregate gods are regarded by the Eastern philosopher as Bhrantidarsanata, false apprehension, something conceived of by reason of erroneous appearances as a material form, and explained as arising from the elusive conception of the egotistical personal and human soul, lower fifth principle. It is beautifully expressed in the new translation of Vishnu Purana that Brahman in its totality has essentially the aspect of Prakriti, both evolved and unevolved, Mula Prakriti, and also the aspect of spirit and the aspect of time. Spirit, twice born, is the leading aspect of the Supreme Brahman. The next is a twofold aspect, Prakriti, both evolved and unevolved, and is the time last. Kronos is shown in the Orphic theogony as being also a generated god or agent. At this stage of the reawakening of the universe, the sacred symbolism represents it as a perfect circle with the root point in the center. The sign was universal, therefore we find it in the Kabbalah also. The Western Kabbalah, however, now in the hands of Christian mystics, ignores it altogether, though it is plainly shown in the Zohar. The sectarians begin at the end as a show of the symbol of the pre-genetic cosmos, this sign, and there's a little drawing of a circle cut into 4 sections. So you have like a cross inside of a circle, calling it the union of the rose and cross, the great mystery of occult generation, from whence the name Rosicrucians, rose cross. As may be judged, however, from the most important as the best known of the Rosicrucian symbols, there is one which has never been hitherto understood even by modern mystics. It is that of the pelican, tearing open its breast to feed the 7 little ones, the real creed of the Brothers of the Rosy Cross and a direct outcome from the Eastern secret doctrine. I remember reading something about this in some alchemical book. Brahma, neuter, is called Kalanhasa, meaning, as explained by Western Orientalists, the eternal swan or goose, and so is Brahma the creator. A great mistake is thus brought under notice. It is Brahma, neuter, who ought to be referred as Hansa Vahana, he who uses the swan as his vehicle, and not Brahma the creator, who is the real Kalahamsa, while Brahma neuter is Hamsa and Ahamsa, as will be explained in the commentary. Let it be understood that the terms Brahma and Parabrahman are not used here because they belong to our esoteric nomenclature, but simply because they are more familiar to the students in the West. Both are perfect equivalents of our 1, 3, and 7-voweled terms, which stand for the one all, and the one all in all. Such are the basic conceptions on which the secret doctrine rests. It would not be in place here to enter upon any defense or proof of their inherent reasonableness, nor can I pause to show how they are in fact contained, though too often under a misleading guise in every system of thought or philosophy worthy of the name. Once that reader has gained a clear comprehension of them and realized the light which they throw on every problem of life, they will need no further justification in his eyes, because their truth will be to him as evident as the sun in heaven. I pass on, therefore, to the subject matter of the stanzas as given in this volume, adding a skeleton outline to them, in the hope thereby of rendering the tasks of the student more easy, by placing before him in a few words the general conception therein explained. Stanza 1. The history of cosmic evolution as traced in the stanzas is, so to say, the abstract algebraic formula of that evolution. Hence, the student must not expect to find there an account of all these stages and transformation which intervene between the first beginnings of the universal evolution and our present state. To give such an account would be as impossible as it would be incomprehensible to men who cannot even grasp the nature of the plain existence next to that which, for the moment, their consciousness is limited. The stanza, therefore, give an abstract formula which can be applied, mutatis mutandis, to all evolution, to that of our tiny earth, to that of the chain of planets, which that earth forms one, to the solar universe to which that chain belongs, and so on, in ascending scale till the mind reels and is exhausted in the effort. The 7 stanzas given in this volume represent the 7 terms of this abstract formula. They refer to and describe the 7 great stages of the evolutionary progress, which are spoken of in the Puranas as the 7 creations, and in the Bible as the 7 days of creation. The first stanza describes the state of the One All during Pralaya, before the first flutter of reawakening manifestation. A moment's thought shows that such a state can only be symbolized. To describe it as is impossible. Nor can it be symbolized except in negatives, for since it is the state of absoluteness per se, it can possess none of these specific attributes which serve us to describe the objects in positive terms. Hence, that state can only be suggested by the negatives of all the most abstract attributes which men feel rather than conceive, as the remotest limits attainable by their power of conception. The stage described in stanza 2 is, to a Western mind, so nearly identical with that mentioned in the first stanza that to express the idea of its difference would require a treatise in itself. Hence, it must be left to the intuition and the higher faculties of the reader to grasp, as far as he can, the meaning of the allegorical phrases used. Indeed, it must be remembered that all these stanzas appeal to the inner faculties rather than the ordinary comprehension of the physical brain. Stanza 3 describes the reawakening of the universe to life after Pralaya. It depicts the emergence of the first monads from their state of absorption within the One, the earliest and highest stage in the formation of worlds, the term monad being one which may apply equally to the vastest solar system or the tiniest atom. So monad means like singularity. Stanza 4 shows the differentiation of the germ, quote-unquote, of the universe. That's another word for the monad, or the singularity, into septenary hierarchy of conscious divine powers, who are the active manifestations of the one supreme energy. They are the framers, shapers, and ultimately the creators of all manifested universes. In the only sense in which the name creator is intelligible, they inform and guide it. They are the intelligent beings who adjust and control evolution, embodying in themselves those manifestations of the one law, which we know as the laws of nature. Generically, they are seen as the Daihan Chohans, though each of the various groups has its own designation in the secret doctrine. This stage of evolution is spoken of in Hindu mythology as the creation of the gods. In stanza 5, the process of world formation is described. First, diffuse cosmic matter, then the fiery quote-unquote whirlwind. The first stage in its formulation of a nebula. That nebula condenses, and after passing through various transformations, forms a solar universe, a planetary chain, or a single planet, as the case may be. The subsequent stages in the formation of a world are indicated in stanza 6, which brings the evolution of such a world down to its 4th great period, corresponding to the period in which we are now living. Stanza 7 continues the history, tracing the descent of life down to the appearance of man, and thus closes the book of the secret doctrine. The development of man, from his first appearance on the earth in this realm to the state in which we now find him, will form the subject of Book 2.